Hey, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, Vincent LaRusso and I are going to talk about the newest Kiss box set for Dress to Kill. We'll go through the demos, the live albums, and what did we like most about it. Lots to cover in this episode. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. So let's jump in and let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. Today I have with me my buddy, dressed for the holiday season. Nice little orangi shirt for Halloween, the Thanksgiving festivities, the fall festivities. How you doing, bloody?
I want you all to know that I'm going to do this entire podcast talking like Paul Stanley from the way he spoke during the live tour and Dress to Kill.
I don't know if I want that. uh,
Man, I know we're going to get into it, but really want to know where he got that from. And it seemed like even thicker and heavier for the was it the RKO theater? What is it? The RKO? What
yeah,
is it?
yeah, it's in Davenport, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, it's
You would never know it was this little Jewish boy from Queens
exactly.
when you hear him.
That's pretty funny.
I'm like,
That is
but
definitely a true statement. Definitely.
yeah,
But so obviously we're here to talk about the Dress to Kill box set. Much anticipated. I've known about it for over a year at this point that it was going to be released. It was released a couple of weeks ago. I think we wanted to give it a few listens, let it marinate a little bit. And then Peter Criss put out a song. We said, well, let's record that first. But I think both of us had a little bit of a chance now to give it some listens, to let it marinate and to come on and kind of talk about the music. Because at the end of the day, I think that's what's most important to you and I is the music. I know you've got a nice little backdrop over there with all of the little bonuses and extras, but what we're here to talk about is the music. And of course, Vincent's face dances. Oh
this
man.
that has become my favorite part of the episodes now.
Is what when you reel away and just show it back. Oh, one of these days you'll reel away and then you just won't come back.
I'll fall off a cliff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, look, I'm on a
Yeah.
roller coaster.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Dress to Kill box set, my friend.
Hmm.
When you first started listening, where do you start? Do you start with the album remastered? Do you start with the demos or do you start with one of the live shows?
I start with the demos always.
I knew you would. I knew you would. I'll just say this, and we'll talk about it in a moment. I actually went straight to the Detroit 75 show, the Cobo Hall one. Man, I've been dying for decades to hear that.
Hmm.
So we started at different spots, but I'll let us talk about the demos first, since it is the first bonus disc in there. And I want to be kind to you and give you the chance to talk about the part that's most near and dear to your heart. So why do you start with the demos?
I'm always curious to hear what I haven't heard before at all.
Hmm.
When you hear a live version, yeah, okay, it's something you haven't heard, that version of the live performance. However, with a demo of a song, it could be a different verse, it could be the music could be different, different instruments. And that, to me is always the thing. It's like always wondering, like, where did the song start from? Like,
Hmm.
how what was the demo sounding like? Because by the time it gets to a live performance, it's on the album for the most part for most groups. I know some people have performed a song live before it's been officially released. So that's I think was the biggest for
Hmm.
me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. And look, normally for me, I'm the same way. It's just some of these demos I had heard already, not many of them. I think like four of them only. Um, But man, I was just so thrilled about that Kobo show. So that's why I went there first. But normally I would do exactly what you said and start with the demos. So let's talk about those demos a little bit. I mean, the first one right out of the gate, Mistake.
Mm-mm.
Had you heard that? I mean, that's been in collectors circles for like 15 or more years, I think, at this point. Had you heard that before? I know you're not necessarily as close to collecting all those things as the way I am.
Well, I was just saying, obviously, I'm not a collector because I had never heard it.
Okay.
Nor now when you had posted the video, maybe it was 6 years ago. I don't remember. I know you reposted the Paul Stanley. You probably should put the link in
Yes, I will. I was going to bring it up, so I'm glad you did.
yeah. Yeah, I most likely did watch it when you posted it 6 years ago. It,
Mhm.
I remember saying, "Oh yeah, I remember seeing this." Um, no, I had never heard it, and I was obviously, I should say obviously, but I was quite surprised on, the sort of slide guitar. I'm like, all right, this is definitely I kind of understand why it's not on. Didn't make the record, but from
Mhm.
a song perspective, was it any better than anything else that stayed on the album? Again, we've talked in the past about songs like Two Timer and what's the other one?
Ladies
The
in
back to back.
Waiting.
Ladies in Waiting. That, when we were younger, those weren't our favorite, but now I've grown to love those songs. But
But let me give you a little fun fact about Mistake then. It
okay, good.
actually could have never been that version that you hear on this box set could have never been considered for Just a Kill because it wasn't recorded until 3 months after the album came out.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Now I've
So
read
what was
it.
it? So what was it recorded for then?
So the original story is that Kiss Alive was under consideration by that point, and it was going to be three sides live, one side studio, just the way Kiss Alive 2
Hmm,
ended up being. And
makes
that they went
sense.
to the studio and did a couple of tracks, Mistake being one of them. Now, I can never imagine in any scenario where you have Kiss Alive and a studio song like Mistake. It just, I mean, that would seem so out of place
Hmm.
as a studio song there. But supposedly the song had been around even before that. So I guess if they wanted to, they could have, recorded it during the Just to Kill sessions. But the recording that we're listening to on this box set was actually recorded after the album came out. So just to kind of clarify that.
And what's the songwriting credit go to on that one? Do you know?
I think it's only Stanley. I don't, I looked it up. I couldn't find it.
Stanley, Paul Stanley or Stanley Roper?
I think it was Stanley Roper, as a matter of fact.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Definitely Stanley Roper.
Okay. Let me see if I
So
can find that out.
yeah. Now, what's interesting,
Um,
I said that while you're looking that up, that, this has been in collectors' hands for like 15 years, but this version on the box set
hmm,
is about a minute
interesting.
longer.
Yeah, it says Paul Stanley is the sole
Yeah.
composer and lyricist.
Yep.
It's interesting here because I don't know if this is. Oh, this is actually. I don't know if you're gonna be interested in this, or you
Okay.
may know this. So on a song like, and sorry to cut you off, I'm just because I'm
That's
looking at
okay.
songwriting credits. So who played drums on the Anything for My Baby studio demo?
So my first thought is to say Peter Chris, but I know it's not. So I think it's J.R. Smallin.
Bang.
No, I'm wrong. Okay. Who?
Dave Whitman.
Oh, that was going to be my next guest, Dave Whitman. And where are you reading this? I don't know how accurate
Bam.
is it.
Not revealing my sources.
Okay.
Actually,
uh,
no. If you go to I use Tidal,
uh-huh.
it's like Spotify, and if you
Mhm.
go to song credits, it tells you this stuff.
Well,
Okay,
while
well
while
you,
you look that up, I'm going to mention something else because you said
yeah.
the slide guitar on Mistake. And in the liner notes of the box set, Paul says that he's the one that's playing that guitar, but that, and help me out here as a musician, you could tell me about this. He played it with a pencil and a glass jar.
Hmm, interesting.
Yeah, not, I don't know, like there's different ways you can get that sound, and that's the way he did it with a pencil and a glass jar. Have you ever attempted that as a musician yourself as a guitar player?
Pencil in a glass jar? No.
All right, so I think that's the next challenge for you. Write a song using a pencil and a glass jar.
Huh. I could be a pencil neck geek.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Oh man. No, I know you haven't probably heard
I made a
the.
mistake. I did make a mistake.
Oh, well, so go ahead, correct yourself, and then I'll say what I
So
was going to say.
engineer on Anything for My Baby is it says Dave Whitman. It doesn't say who the drummer was.
So you just wasted
So
20
just
minutes of my
I'll
time.
just take 10 minutes
All
off
right,
this podcast.
maybe I'll just edit that whole thing out.
Yeah.
No, but anyway,
All right. I'm Mr. Kulik.
well, Um, so you don't recall hearing the original leak of the Mistake demo, but there's actually even an Ace solo that's really, really low in this mix on the box set. That's about 20 seconds long. I don't know why they put it so low in the mix, but that was probably my one and only disappointment is I wish that Ace solo was a little bit more louder in the mix or whatever. So point being, if you haven't heard that leaked demo, check that out also. It's about a minute shorter. It's got a cool Ace solo that's in there. It's the same recording, but not as good a quality, but definitely worth checking out also. So
Okay.
regarding the demos, right? So to me, I think one of the interesting things is when I saw the original track listing, I guess about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I saw these extended versions, etc. I thought it was going to be the album versions, just with a longer outro that maybe was not on the record originally. But these are actually different takes. These demos and these outro, not outro, these extended versions. So to me, I thought that was a kind of cool thing. If I'm going to get a instrumental version of Room Service, it's nice that I have a different version than what's on the album. Just those,
Hmm.
I don't know if you picked up on that. Those were different takes.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead. Something's marinating. I could
I
see
was
the
gonna, I was gonna make it. I
marination.
was gonna make another Dave Whitman joke, but again,
Oh, oh, oh. I, I need to
yeah.
find a new partner for this. Somebody's not.
Dang, no trade-ins, no
No trade-ins,
trade-ins.
no
I am not a
trade-ins.
car.
I'm not a Oh man. So what was your favorite part? You said you started with the demos. What were your favorite parts of the demos then?
I mean, I think the thing that I've always been very excited about when I listen to any of these things, and I've been fortunate through, let's just say, been able to find certain original multi-tracks of certain
Hmm.
artists here in the pre-roll of the tape.
Yep.
Like I have this wonderful I found was Michael Jackson recording Rock With You.
Okay.
And you hear them all laughing in the studio,
Hmm.
and you hear Quincy Jones. All right, I forgot what it didn't say "rock with you," whatever the code for the song was,
Uh-huh.
and you hear like they were all like two,
Hmm.
one, two, three, and you have da 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 da, and and I always think, did they know like how big this song was going to be when they were all in this room?
Right, right, right.
And just the art of what it was back then. It wasn't, you recorded your drum part, you guy can, it was like a group, and it sounded like, and that was the nice thing about listening to the Skit stuff is like they were recorded the album live,
Right. Yep.
so I loved hearing like you clearly, because Neil, I've heard Neil Bogart's voice before,
Hmm.
so you hear him saying
Yep.
whatever, um, and you could hear like one point, like Paul says something like, I don't remember what, like I'm going to scratch my balls or something like that, or something like he makes some
Yeah,
sort of
there's one
reference.
point where I think it was before the Getaway instrumental that you could hear him and Peter kind of like goofing off with each other
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
to me that's fun.
And those are great moments in time.
Yeah.
But every time I hear that, I'm like, how many more of those moments
Oh,
in
of course.
time?
That's
Like,
what I'm thinking
it's
also.
like this is, there's probably, miles upon miles of tape, that's it's stored. Like you told me, I think that they didn't find one of the tape or something until this year, wasn't it? Something like
Yeah, so
that?
I mean, the rumor I heard is that they did not find these multi-track tapes for some of these live shows until this year. Now, I thought about that and I'm like, how true is that? Because A, and we'll talk about this when we talk about the live shows, as we know, some of these songs, at least the music was on You Wanted the Best, You Got the Best, that was released 25 years ago. Some of these songs were released on like Guitar Hero and things like that. So I'm not sure how 100% accurate that is.
Well, I don't know about the Guitar Hero part.
What about that? What?
I don't think I think the guitar, from what I remember, because I used to play Guitar Hero.
Mhm.
What Guitar Hero was using was the re-recorded Sonic Boom.
No, no, no. They had a couple of live songs on there as well that were
Oh
from
yeah,
these sessions. Yes,
okay.
100%. Yeah.
Because well, maybe like if they used Lick It Up or something like that.
Right.
I think those were, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
all right,
And
fair. Because they probably used a live Rock and Roll Night, is what you're saying, right?
yeah, and I think there was if I remember right, and it's been years, I think there was Parasite and 100,000 Years on
Oh
one of the
really? Okay,
releases. Yeah, and it came
okay.
from these sessions. So, but point being that these tracks were out there, at least some of the songs, in different formats. So did they find the multi-tracks this year for the first time? I don't know. Or maybe that rumor is just not true. Who the hell knows? But that's one of the things to me, even just listening to these demos. I think it's great that they found the multi-tracks, and it's clear that these things are in pristine condition, or that the sound is just absolutely incredible. But in some cases, I'm like, well, I'm kind of listening to 2025 mixes of what was recorded in 1975. And maybe this acoustic version, if you will, of Love Her All I Can, let's just say, may not have ever really been considered in 1975. It's just the way somebody mixed it, 50 years later. It's still cool, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love it. But that was just one of the only things I thought of as I was listening to these demos is, I don't know if these are quote unquote 1975, what my ears would have heard in 1975 if they were considering different mixes.
I'm not kind of following you on that one.
Well, there's like the 4 or 5 songs in a row that are acoustic, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that they ever actually considered making Just a Kill sound like an acoustic. I know there's
Oh,
acoustic
I see.
guitar
Okay.
elements, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think those mixes were ever like, hey, could this be the version of Two Timer that's on Just a
yeah,
Kill? We'll put an acoustic version. I don't think that was
yeah.
ever really considered.
Well, I think that, and I don't know. Do you have the product, the hard whatever they
Not
call it?
yet. Nope, not
Yeah,
yet.
okay. Because I'm thinking that the book would detail a lot of this stuff,
Yeah,
right?
it just, I
Because
think it just talks about like what take it is and things like that.
well,
I
that's what I'm
don't,
saying. Well, that
yeah.
was my point. Because typically, if you did multiple takes of, I don't know if so many bands did this back in the day.
Mhm.
They might have said, "All right, we're going to try this like this," or we're, take four was a great take, so let's record the electric guitars on top of that.
Right.
Take three maybe wasn't one, so we're not going to add the added track, so it's going to be more of the bare. I'm being hypothetical here, but I'm
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
figuring how things work.
Yeah, well, to your
Um,
point, I mean, you could hear Neil Bogart before one of the takes. It's like, hey, don't worry about it. If this is good, but you make a mistake, we'll just punch in, something or there. So I'm sure that that's what they were doing is they were recording the basic tracks and then deciding, all right, now which ones we add the other elements to, the vocals, the guitar solo, the acoustic guitars, etc. But don't get me wrong, I absolutely love that disc and all the different versions. And to your point, as I'm listening today, and I was listening to it again this morning, I was like, damn, how much more of this is out there? I want to hear all seven, quote unquote, seven versions of Come On and Love Me. I want to hear all 12 versions of Rock and Roll All Night. I want to hear the mistakes where they stop something in the middle of a take. Yeah,
Mistakes. Yeah,
that's I want to kind of hear it all. And I know it's not realistic, but that's one of my takeaways after hearing that. Just like, we probably only got a third or less of what was actually there. And it's to me, one of the things that's great is when they first announced the Just to Kill box set, I think a lot of people were thinking that there was not going to be a lot of extra bonus material available. Kiss recorded this album. It's amazing. If you look at some of the notes, it says that they started recording, I think it was on February 12th. The album was released on March 19th. That's 35 days later. So
yeah,
from the time they start recording, not finish, the time they start recording to release is 35 days. Talk
yeah,
about freaking plowing through that really fast. It's just amazing to me.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but I love the demo disc. Like I said, I kind of wish there was more of it. But like I said, I started with that Kobo 75 concert. So is there anything more you want to say about the demos before I talk a little bit about the concert?
Let me just take it through. No, I mean, it was fun listening to like the rock and roll nights is one like
Yes.
it's a faster version of it,
Yeah.
and it sounds like an overdub of Gene's vocals on top of the vocals. It's kind
Yes.
of an interesting mix.
Mhm.
Um, one's got like I think it's like it got a cowbell in there, which I was
Yes.
like, which was interesting.
Which
And
was a year, I think it was a year before Don't Fear the Reaper. So Kiss could have been the original more cowbell.
well, I think Mississippi Queen will always say maybe take
All
that
right,
one. I think
fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah, yeah,
Fair enough.
but yeah, no, it was the other thing is that the tracks were pretty consistent, from each take to each take. I would listen for like the drum fill I remember or this and that.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's so much fun hearing the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And to the point that you were saying before about things you don't hear, I think one of my favorite moments in the demo is I think is one of the room service demos. Gene comes in on the verses, not the chorus, and he's actually harmonizing with Paul like in the
Oh
second
yeah,
half of one of the verses. I'm like, that's pretty damn cool. So
yeah,
things like that to me, that's absolutely one of the things I love about the demo. Why I usually gravitate towards demos first, if it wasn't for this Copo 75 show, is for those very reasons, because it's just stuff that you've never heard before, which I absolutely love.
right.
So. anything else on the demos before I
No,
just
I
think
want to. I want to know why your Kobo 75. Well, obviously that's why you went there first.
well, for decades, if you're into collecting and everything like I am, Kiss fans have heard about the unusual set list that Kiss played at this show.
Hmm.
For decades, it was also said that Kiss Alive was recorded in Cobo Hall. So at this show, we know that that's not true now, and we'll get into that in a moment. But to me, this concert for whatever reason was just legendary to me. And I kind of wanted to hear what it was all about, and just seeing the set list and knowing that they opened up with Rock Bottom, and then they go to Strutter and Nothing to Lose, but then they go into Two Timer and Let Me Know. It's just like, what a bizarre set list.
Mm.
There's just nothing about it that was a typical Kiss show. And as I'm listening to it for the first time, I'm like, this is, besides being just so cool and so odd that they're doing this, but I'm like, why did they choose this night of all nights to play a bizarre set list? They're recording their live album the first night that they're trying to record it.
So
Yeah,
let's step back because you have all the history stuff.
yeah.
How many nights were recorded for live?
Five concerts over four different nights. Davenport, there was an afternoon and an evening show, so it was five concerts in total.
That counts as two.
That counts as two, correct?
Okay, and what's the other three?
Wildwood, Cleveland, two Davenports, and Detroit. Those are the
But
five.
now what we hear on a live, the
Yes.
official release is what?
It is believed that is mostly the second night, the second performance in Davenport and Wildwood and Cleveland as well. So those three shows are the ones that are
Oh, okay.
believed. So, which, as you notice, none of those three made it onto the Dress to Kill box. Right. What's on here is the afternoon show of Davenport, which supposedly, nothing really came from that, and the
Right.
Kobo show, which supposedly nothing really came from that.
And I listened very closely because supposedly, the basically that would really remain with the drums.
Right.
And
Yep.
clearly there wasn't. I mean, it's a bunch of songs. I don't remember one being, oh yeah, this is the exact drum track I
Right.
remember from Alive. It didn't seem that way to my ears.
No. Well, let's just touch on this for a moment. Yesterday, Kiss dropped the news that there's going to be an Alive box set. So now that's official.
Oh my God.
Right, exactly. It's like finally it's official. I've known about these since October of 2024. But in that box set, they didn't flat out say it, but the reel that they put out shows like concert posters, and it's the three shows that I just mentioned, that the evening show in Davenport, Cleveland, and Wildwood. So those three are clearly going to be on the Alive box set. So I think you're going to get your chance to see, to A B and say, all right, did this come from this show? Did this come from that show?
Interesting. I
Yes.
wonder if I should make my comment now or wait for my. Maybe I'll wait.
Yes. Wait, but
Yeah.
what I was wondering listening to this and going back to the Kobo show is, so you're recording your show for the first time for a live album. Why do you choose that night to totally mix up the set list and get out of your comfort zone? Every night you're opening up with Deuce and you're going into Strutter, right, so on and so forth. Why do you say tonight that we're recording, we're going to really mix it up and get out of our comfort zone? That just seems like a bizarre decision to make. I'm not questioning performing Rock Bottom or Two Timer and Let Me Know, but why mix up the set list so much where you're no longer in that comfort zone when you're recording? That just seems like an odd choice to me. I don't know. Maybe it's
Hmm.
just me. You tell me, as a musician, would you want to be in your comfort zone if you're recording a live album, or do you want to be mixing it up and kind of and maybe feeling, something different? Maybe,
No, I don't see how that's logical,
yeah,
to do that at that particular point.
right.
Obviously, they had a reason they did it. They didn't just throw, I don't think they threw, names of songs in a hat and said, all right, this is what we're doing
That's almost what
tonight.
the set list feels like to me.
Yeah,
It's
it
like, all
does.
right,
It
put the
does.
songs in a hat and let's pick it out. All right, Rock Bottom,
Yeah.
that'll be first. It's what it feels
Yeah.
like, the set list. And I love it. I absolutely love it. But it's just, if they had done it the night before when they weren't recording, or the night after when they weren't recording, I wouldn't question it. Why do it the night that you're recording your live album? It just
Yeah.
seems like an
Yeah.
odd choice to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But saying that, I friggin' love listening to the show, man. It's just like such a friggin' time capsule for Kiss. I love the odd set list. I love hearing Two Time Alive. Let me know, and we'll talk about
And
go
and
ahead.
and and remember, that was that show is when?
May 16th of 75. So like 2 months after the
And
album came out,
okay, and the first Kiss album came out in March.
February of 74.
So imagine that's like a year and a half of the band.
It's crazy.
You gotta put it in that perspective of
It's
like where
absolutely
they were
crazy.
at,
Yep.
and it really, I mean, time capsule is a great, great words to describe. And I always listen to it this way. When I hear the crowd cheering for this and cheering for that, did they know what was even more to come? Did Kiss
Hmm.
know? I don't even think Kiss even knew that, 3 years later they were going to have solo albums and dolls and all
No,
that
there's no
stuff.
way
Like,
they
come
would
on,
know that. Right.
there's no way they would know that,
Hmm.
you know, and just how big they got.
Agreed. And what I
Okay,
find fascinating is that there's the two concerts on this, Cobo and Davenport. And Cobo is
yeah,
like, I forget what the attendance was, like 12, 13,000 people at the show. But the
yeah,
Davenport show was in front of 2,500 people only. So they're
yeah.
still in that
Doesn't
phase.
sound like it.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't sound
I
like it.
thought the same thing also. It doesn't kind of
Doesn't
sound
sound
like
like it.
that, but it's kind of interesting how that dynamic was still playing out, where in some places they're now playing arenas such as Detroit, but in other places they're still playing little theaters, 2,500 people. Um, to me, one of the things I took away from both of those concerts on here is friggin' Peter Chris's drumming. He is absolutely on fire. I'll call him the MVP of these shows. I mean, he just sounds like, all right, we know in later years, Paul and Gene, but especially Paul would kind of belittle Peter. I hate to say it that way, as a drummer and what he brought to the band. Man, that's revisionist history, man. You listen to these shows and Peter Chris, the feel he has in these songs and the drumming is just, for me, it is quintessential Kiss at that point. That is exactly, I mean, it really is that the Kiss sound in 1975. And to me, it stems with Peter Chris more than any of the other guys. And no disrespect to any of the other guys, but that drumming is just absolutely freaking incredible to me.
Is that with or without the tuna?
That's what out. That's what.
See what I did there, right?
Yes, I know exactly what you did there. Man, for you as a drummer, when you,
Tuna. See, tune. See how it's a
yes,
musical
yes,
reference?
yes, yes, I see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
For you as a drummer, when you hear his playing on these songs,
Listen,
what,
I've defended Peter Chris for years and I've gotten angry about it too, right?
yes, yeah,
I've said it before, huge Eric Carr fan in the 80s, especially, definitely who's my number one, drumming hero.
yeah,
Still will always be, you know, near and dear to my heart, but Peter Chris will always be number one to me, you
mm-hmm,
know? It's maybe he was the one who made me want to play the instrument. I think his feel is way underrated. There's so many things. Again, 100,000 years is one of the best examples of feel, and it was interesting. And more focusing on the show, we haven't talked about the
Davenport,
Davenport.
yeah,
Just listening to the little changes in the drum solo,
mm-hmm,
basically did the same, but there were kind of slight little things, because
yeah,
that you've heard the solo so many times, right?
mm-hmm,
And the fact of the matter is, this wasn't an exhibit of like, let me show off my drumming skills and bore you to death. It was more about like, let me make this like something tribal to get the crowd into
agreed.
and make it musical, and there's a lot to be said about that. And the way, I just love when I want to know how many people here.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
How many people? And
mm-hmm, yeah,
it's like that it's like, it's so awesome how, and again, Paul Stanley is so underrated as a front man, or was. Let's say I'm talking about this time, because if you really think about it, in 1975, you had the Daltrys, you had the Robert Plants, you had the Mick Jaggers, but the rapport that Paul Stanley has, I'm trying to think. I'm like, who else was doing this, saying all this stuff, and even the voice, which is original,
mm-hmm,
like this voice he would put on to kind of relate to people.
yeah,
Because again, here's this Jewish kid from
mm-hmm,
Queens who doesn't
mm-hmm,
sound like that at all.
yeah,
As a matter of fact, you might even think just by listening, if you didn't know who Kiss was, is this a black guy talking? Like he has kind
mm-hmm,
of like, or is he from the South, or where's this guy from?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
You would never know that. But his command, where he got that from, I mean, I know they always say like Sean Delaney was a big part of their I think, and you could correct me, the whole thing when Deuce at the end when they do the whole guitar
mm-hmm,
things. Like I think Sean Delaney had a lot of influence on that kind of like kind of getting them more. a choreographed,
Yep.
I
Yep.
could be wrong on that.
No, no.
But that whole rapport he has with the crowd,
Agreed.
and hey, like wherever that came from, those the hey, you know what I mean? It's
I'm
this
trying to
guy,
look at, go ahead.
yeah, yeah, we're
No,
gonna
no,
say?
I'm trying to look it up because some of that rap I think comes from a Stevie Wonder song, and I don't remember it off the top of my head. I posted it on my page, but yeah, I
Yeah,
can't find it right now. But some of that rap actually comes directly from a Stevie Wonder recording, if I remember right.
okay.
So when you talk about some of that sounding not like typical rock or whatever, that's where Paul was getting it from. I have to find that, and I'll put the link underneath the video here, and people can listen to it. It's fascinating to me.
And I have to, I'm gonna ask a question, which should be I should know this right off the top of my head. He says in the Davenport show how many people that they like to get high,
Hmm.
right? In the
Yep.
live, he says like to taste alcohol, right?
Uh,
Does he say how to get
no, no, I
get
think he
high?
says how.
Does he?
Yeah, yeah, he
I'm
says how
trying to
many
because
people.
I always remember right off the to me it tastes alcohol.
Right, right. No, no, I think he
Yeah,
says how many people want to get high as
yeah.
well, which is kind of funny when him and Gene ended up being so anti-drugs.
Right, right, right. Well, that was kind of my point of the whole
Hmm.
thing.
Yep.
But and all right, let's finish. Let's because we're gonna go to the Davenport show,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
We'll
that
go to
that
Davenport show in a moment,
yeah,
but I want a
yeah,
couple of things with Kobo.
yeah.
So in 1996, when Kiss reunited, they put out the "You Wanted the Best, You Got the Best" CD, right? And on that was Two Timer, Let Me Know, Take Me, and Room Service. And for a couple of years now, decades, people have said, oh, those are clearly re-records. And you could hear it in the vocals, and some of them, it's no doubt about it, it is. There's even been some people that questions, is Bruce Kulick playing on those songs on the You Wanted the Best version? If you were to A-B two-timer, let's just start there. The music on both of them is 100% identical.
Ah,
Identical,
nothing.
100%.
Yeah.
So it kind of put to rest and it says on the You Wanted the Best that it came from the Detroit show. And the music is, I mean, if you line them up, and somebody I know did actually line them up and you could hear it in both 100%. It's lined up picture perfect, the music. Oddly enough, Gene did re-record his vocals in 96 on that recording, even though the vocals sound so similar in the two versions. I don't know why Gene re-recorded the vocals. Let Me Know, the music on You Wanted the Best sounds exactly the same as Detroit. Paul's vocal is exactly the same. And again, Gene redid his vocals, which is just
Mm,
bizarre. So I guess my point being those 96 recordings were a bit more authentic to 75, at least for these two songs, than people thought at the time.
mm,
Room
yeah.
Service, it's clear that that is a Stanley 1996 vocal on that recording. What I was told years ago is that Room Service recording, the music was from a sound check and did not have a vocal on it. And then that's why Paul put a vocal on it in 96. Maybe we'll learn when the live
Mm,
box set comes out if that's the case. But I wanted to just bring it up because for decades now, people have thought that the You Want, and myself included, that some of those You Wanted the Best recordings were not really done in 75. And
mm,
I think this kind of put that part to rest a little bit.
yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Another thing, and I know I texted you about this. I don't know if you had a chance to really try to listen. I was listening to it in my headphones, and in Firehouse, at about the 3.5 minute mark, I can clearly hear that there's a shift in the sound. And I'm like, what the hell is that? So I rewind, I try to listen, and to me, it sounds like there's maybe about a minute or so of Firehouse on the Kobo show. Starts with the guitar solo that was edited in. I'm going to guess from another. It sounds like it came straight from Kiss Alive, is what it sounds like to me. I'm going to guess there was some kind of cut in the tape and they had to just splice in the solo. And look, Eddie Kramer did a great job splicing this in. But if you listen to it, and I can't hear where it first starts. I've since read online that a lot of people think it starts around the 2 minute and 10 second mark, but I can clearly hear at the 3:25 mark. I could hear the shift in the sound, like where the two recordings are starting to meet and they shift the sounds. And I can clearly hear that. That's where I picked it up just in my earbuds at first. That did you hear that at all, or am I going
It
crazy with
sounded
this?
more to me like it was almost like a timing thing
Mm,
like if they did splice the tape, it's like a couple of milliseconds of the was
hmm.
it was like shortened, and then it kind of just something seems sudden to me.
Okay.
I think I hear what you're saying, It
Yeah.
wasn't more of an audio sound. It just sounded like more like a timing thing to me, to my ears.
Well, to me at the 320, 325 mark, that to me,
Okay.
I could hear a fade in and a fade out of two, what sounds to me like
See
two
that?
different recordings. That's the part that I was
Hmm.
first like, oh, what was that? When as I'm listening to it for like the third or fourth time, I like it, and now every
And
time I hear it, to me, it just stands out.
and that and that was on Firehouse, right?
Firehouse, yep.
Hmm. Trying to see if I could hear that really quickly. I can hear you and the album, ironically, at the same time.
Okay. Go to like
Um,
320 and then just listen to like that 10 second.
320.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then just listen. It's right around 324, 25, 26. Right around there. There's like a fade between the two.
Okay, I'm gonna listen to it right now. 320.
You don't hear it.
I
Right?
don't hear it.
I do. I hear
Hold on a
something.
second. Sirens in, right?
Yeah, the sirens in is right around 324. I think like it just the sound changes to me. It sounds like brighter to me all of a sudden.
I don't hear it.
You don't hear it. All right. Maybe I'm crazy.
No.
Everybody else watching and listening, let me know if you've
Yeah, I
picked
don't
up on
hear
this
it.
and you've heard it.
I
Because
thought I heard this. The bass drum sound a little quicker, but I don't
no.
really hear it.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I hear something, like I said, especially around that 324, 325 mark. I hear something that seems like just the bleeding of different recordings together.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah.
I listened from 3:15 to about 3:30 in, and I didn't hear that.
Okay. Maybe I'm crazy.
Were you running? You sure you didn't step in a pothole when this happened?
No, I
Shifted
was
your
not
ears?
running. I was sitting on my couch listening to it a couple of nights ago. I'm like, what the hell's that? That sounds
Hmm.
weird. Like, and now every time I hear it in that 324, 325 mark, I hear
Wow.
it.
Okay.
And when I Googled it, I did find a few people that were talking about it on, I forget what message board
Really?
it was. It was a weird message board. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so anyway, I'm not the only one that obviously picked up on that, but I don't know, maybe my ears are wrong.
Now I got to question my hearing. Look at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So the only other thing I want to say about the Cobo Hole show, which I thought was kind of fun and so typical, man. Gene, does he ever get the lyrics right to every song? And,
Same thing in Davenport. Rock and
yeah.
roll night. He messes up the second verse.
Yeah, well, in the Kobo show, he messes up the first verse. He starts it off. You show us everything you've got. The room gets crazy and the nights are hot. Oh, what the hell? Where did that lyric
Yeah.
come from? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But he sings it so smooth that it made me for a second think, could that have been the original lyric? And for whatever
Mm.
reason, he just hopped back to it for a moment.
Yeah.
So because I just laugh with that stuff. I mean, that is so typical Gene to me. But anyway, anything else on the Cabo show? Or do you want to, I know you said you wanted to talk about Davenport a little bit. So you want to jump to
No,
Davenport?
sure.
Go ahead. So, but you had some thoughts on Davenport that you wanted to say?
Well, I mean, again, I think the interesting. Well, this was the comment I was going to make, and I was wondering if I should make it for when we, because I know we're going to review the live box set, or just say it now. But I'm going to say it now because I'm in the mood.
Go ahead. And you can always repeat it.
So yeah, so I think at one point we discussed, or we said, like, does the fact that the a live recording that we know and love, that it's not all alive, does that, like, sort of, in hindsight now, kind of, not blemish or whatever the word you want to use?
Mhm.
And I think, no, it's still a great, yeah, I was always like, right, but I've kind of changed my mind a little bit on that.
Interesting.
Yes, and listening to these live shows. Let me just preface it with, like, saying Kiss Alive is still one of the greatest albums of all time,
Hmm.
and a great live
Hmm.
album,
Wink, wink.
okay?
Mhm.
Because what I came to realize in listening to, especially because this is of the time, how many vocals did Paul not extend himself?
Mhm.
How there are certain things that obviously are not perfect, and how on everything on Alive is perfect. Let's face fact, even guitar solos. Every solo Ace does on Kiss Alive is picture perfect sounds, bends, pitches.
Mhm.
On this, not so much.
No, I agree. Ace is a
You
little
know,
sloppy on both of these shows.
yes. On this, love hearing it.
Yeah.
I think it's in either Got to Choose. One point, Peter goes over with the hi-hat where he was supposed to stop.
Hmm.
Gene hit a couple of bad bass notes, 100,000 years. Interestingly, I think it was 100,000 years. The guitars don't come in when I expected
Yeah.
them to come
Hmm.
in.
Hmm.
I love all that stuff. Let me
Right.
face facts.
Hmm.
But when you listen to Kiss Alive, like, wait a second. So I think what it did for me was it magnified the fact that Kiss Alive wasn't truly alive and was a perfected piece
Hmm.
and wasn't a perfected live performance. That being said, I don't want to say take anything away from a Kiss live show because I still
And
think
let's wait until we hear the other three shows before we can say that
okay,
definitively.
that's why I'm saying this
Hmm.
now.
Yeah.
Okay, because then when I could come back at that time.
Yep.
So I guess in a ways it makes me appreciate Kiss Alive that much more for those performances that they did after the fact.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, and it also makes you realize that when you're live and you're moving around and you're jumping around and rather than sitting in a studio chair doing your guitar solo or
Yeah.
you're at the mic like this with the headphones on, it's a
Yeah.
much different thing. Um, but I think what I really enjoyed about listening to on the Davenport show was all those little things. I think even before not nothing to lose, watching you. You hear somebody warming up with the
They're
riff.
watching you.
You hear,
They're
no, it's not
watching you.
watching you.
Nothing to lose.
Um, was it nothing to
Yeah, I
lose?
think so. Yeah.
I had it right the first time. You hear, you,
Or
you
Parasite. Maybe
hear,
it's Parasite.
you hear like, I thought I was hearing do, 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 do,
Hmm.
do. Somebody's warming up. Obviously not that one, but you hear like the warming up of the song, or you hear even a lot of times you hear like the bass doing something.
Yep.
Where of course alive they just, I'm
Of
sure
course.
they did some of that. They just took it out.
Right.
But
Right.
those little nuances that you hear, or you know, um, I just really enjoyed that stuff.
I agree. Well, I'll say this. I think for a live release in 75, it needed to be quote unquote perfect, right? I don't know that the general public wanted to hear all of those kind of things in 75, but as a Kiss fan 50 years later, yeah, there's something about both of these shows right now that to me were more endearing, were more authentic, and really gave me the feeling of being at a Kiss show in 75. And I mean, I've listened to both of those shows, and I'll say this: I thought even in the Davenport show, Paul sounded a little bit off at times. Like his voice wasn't as
Mhm.
strong, and maybe saving it for the second show
Yeah,
that evening, we'll see.
absolutely.
But it didn't matter to me because it still just it felt like an alternate alive to me, but it felt 100% authentic. And that's not to take away anything from what the real alive sounds like, but there's just something about all those things that you just said that just makes me feel like I'm in that moment. Even that freaking air horn that I couldn't believe.
I like that.
Oh
Yeah,
man, I mean that thing's
great.
going on, but like that's so 70s. And I did
Yeah,
wonder like why didn't Kiss the security, knowing that they're recording, why didn't their security try to find that guy and stop that? But it's a small enough place, 2,500 people. That's when I looked up to see what the crowd was. I'm like, is this 15,000 people and they're never going to find this guy with the air horn? But
yeah, yeah,
but that's all of that just gave it such a 70s feel to me because I don't know anybody in 2025 that goes to a concert with an air horn.
yeah,
Or I don't even know why in 1975 you go to a concert with an air horn. Like imagine
yeah,
standing next to that person all
yeah,
night.
yeah,
I'd be like, shut up and smack the person in the head and get that.
yeah. It's true.
But
Yeah.
no, I mean, all the things you just said is one of the things I absolutely love about the Davenport show. The set list is obviously much more like Kiss Alive, so it feels almost to me like an alternate Alive. You mentioned watching you though, and it's one of the things I never really fully remembered or realized because I have like whatever 20, 30 different shows from the Just to Kill tour. Kiss wasn't doing watching you on the Just to Kill tour, but it's on Kiss Alive. So we'll see with the Alive box set. Did they do it in a sound check? Where, or did they maybe do it for one night at one of these other shows?
Mm,
Where does watching you come from on
yeah.
Kiss Alive? Maybe we're going to learn that in the next few days. But it was one of those things as I'm listening to these two shows, I'm like, oh, wait, that's right. I forgot they weren't doing watching you, even though it's on Alive. They weren't doing it on this tour. So an interesting little thing here. But I also like, and I just thought this is funny. Here it is, they're recording the show in Davenport, and the show starts, they mention it's Davenport, but then Paul refers to it as Moline.
Yeah.
twice during the show, which
Yeah.
I looked it up. And it's 4 miles apart from Moline to Davenport. So it's not a big deal. But Paul's going on. When we were talking about recording a live album, there's no way we wouldn't do it in Moline. Well, guess what,
Yeah.
Paul? You're not. So I just thought that was
Yeah.
kind of a little bit funny. But
How do you mess that one up?
yeah, I don't know. But then in the encore, he does call him Davenport. So I wonder if, like, when they broke for the encore, somebody's like, Paul, you're not in Moline, you're in Davenport. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're only a couple
Yeah.
of miles apart from each other, but get it right, Dodo. But it's
Yeah.
again, those kind of things to me are funny. But yeah, I really loved both live shows, and it just to me whets my appetite for what's about to come. So yesterday, like I said, they announced that there's going to be a live box set. It seems like it's going to be these other three shows. The rumor has it there's going to be some sound check recordings on it. Let me ask you this. Do you think it's a mistake to have released two box sets so close to each other?
I mean, it's not a mistake as for fans, you know.
Would you rather
Um,
than wait 6 months, let's just say, in between?
well, I mean, let's face facts. If you're buying this stuff, it's you're talking about dropping like close to $700 for two
Yep.
products very close together. And, for not a lot of people. Well, I shouldn't say I don't know, but there are going to be people that's going to struggle with that.
Hmm.
And I don't know if these are limited quantities, that they're doing on these
They're
box sets.
usually not. I think the Destroyer and Creatures box sets are still available. So
They're still available.
yeah.
Have
Mhm.
they been discounted at all? Do you know?
They were on Amazon. I know that. I don't
Let's
know if
see.
they are right now, but I know I've heard people say they've got them for like 150, $175.
Would they originally go for
Two and change. I don't remember exactly.
two and change, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
That could have been 230, could have been 275. I don't remember off the top of my head.
So Creatures is that the 40th anniversary Super Deluxe 5
Hmm.
CD Blu-ray,
Yep.
219.
219. Okay.
And Destroyer, let's see. This is Amazon, by the way.
Yeah, I feel it.
Let's see. Destroyer is 224.
Okay. And I'm
So
hoping, I'm hoping that the Just to Kill box set and now the live box set, I know there's a lot of rumor that they're not going to be available on Amazon, that it's going to be just a Kiss Online exclusive, both of these. I guess time will tell on that. So right now they're only available through Kiss Online. And I guess if you're holding out and you want to order it, I believe Kiss Online right now is offering a promo where if you purchase $100 or more, it's free shipping, which on these box sets, shipping was expensive. So
will they?
yeah,
Will they charge you for shipping?
I heard somebody I saw said that they were charging like 30 or $40. I don't know that as fact. I saw somebody
Shit, I could have
comment on it.
fucking buy a hose for that much.
Exactly. Oh man. So, but overall, do you think they should have waited a few more months for the live box set, or a little bit space in between the two?
I think from a business perspective, well, they want to get out for the holiday too.
Right.
That's no, I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. I to me the two box sets are so intertwined with each other, right? The live is obviously recorded on the Just to Kill tour. You've got the shows recorded for live on both of them. I kind of like that they're so close to each other.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting to see, and hopefully it'll be announced tomorrow what else is going to be on the live box set. The rumor is there's going to be some sound check recordings, and supposedly those sound check recordings are quote unquote deep cuts from Hotter Than Hell and Just to Kill that weren't being performed in concerts. So
that's cool.
that'll be a throw-in. I will say this, for the past year up until recent, a lot of people were complaining about the fact that with Kiss being sold to Pop House, there was really nothing going on in 2024, no new products. To me, Kiss fans can't complain about that anymore, right? In the last 6 months, we've got Off the Soundboard, two box sets, the Vegas event. I mean, things have really kicked in quite a bit here in the last few months. So to me, my opinion, there's nothing more for Kiss fans to complain. Some are complaining that it's too quick nowadays, but I rather that than what we had in 2024 where there was nothing going on. So that's just my
Hmm.
take. And I'm going to guess in 2026, we're going to hopefully see more of these things.
I would think so.
Yeah. Anything else, my friend, you want to say about the Just to Kill box?
No, I mean, other than this is one of my favorite Kiss records, and to
Hmm.
have a collection like this, again, Kiss put out box set. They put the box set out. What was that? Late '90s. They put that
Uh-huh.
box set out.
Yep.
They did the
I think it was
Kissologies in the
95, if I
'90s.
remember right.
Was it that far back?
Yeah, it was before the reunion.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. you always say, would I've thought this when we were young? Would I've
Right.
thought that? Would I have thought there was going to be a Dress to Kill box set with four, discs of demos, unreleased versions? No,
Right.
you know. So I mean, I'm just so happy that this stuff exists and look forward to more of this stuff, you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah,
Like, do they have similar stuff for Hotter Than Hell? Do they have similar stuff
they do.
for yeah? So
They do.
this,
Yeah. Yeah.
like how you said that with all confidence, they do.
Well, they were working on other box sets before the brand was sold. So,
Hmm.
so who knows? Maybe it'll be 55th anniversary, 60th anniversary. I hope it's before I hope we get to hear that stuff one day,
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
so we'll see. But, yeah, to me, it's exciting to be getting this stuff. And I'm hoping in 2026, we look at the anniversaries and there's obviously Destroyer, which already has a box set. There's Rock and Roll Over. I'm hoping there's a Rock and Roll Over box set, man. That will be to me the ultimate box set, in my opinion.
yeah,
Please, could I hear Queen for a day just once, please?
hmm,
So, but
yeah,
anyway, we'll save that conversation for another day. To me, I was thoroughly thawed. When I first and I've made it no secret that I've been, part of a smaller group talking to Pop House. When I first started talking with Pop House a year and a half ago, the thing I kept saying to them, to me, it's the music. The music. That to me is what's most important as a fan is the music. That t-shirt is wonderful. That's great. Posters, yeah, that's nice. Give me more music. And
yeah,
clearly they were going to do this whether they spoke to Mike Brown or not. I'm not saying they're doing this because of me, but that's why I'm excited because to me, that's what gets me excited is the music. And
yeah,
we have the Just Kill box set, another one coming right on the heels, all about the music to me. Man, I'm thoroughly third,
yeah,
thoroughly third.
yeah,
I look forward to seeing what people here who watch and listen and have to say. What was the first CD or what was the first thing you streamed from this? Was it that you wanted to hear the album remastered? Was it that you wanted to hear the demos like Vin did first? Was it the Kobo 75 show? Was it Davenport maybe that you wanted to hear first? What was the first thing you listened to? What has been the highlight of the show of the box as you've continued to listen? Has your opinion changed from first listen to more recent? Are you excited for a live box set? There's, I mean, just so much to talk about here. So I'm really looking forward to seeing and reading everybody else's comments. And buddy, I have a feeling we're going to be doing some more of these very, very, very soon.
yeah. Don't really thought about that.
Excellent. Well, as always, my friend, thank you for joining. I appreciate the Orangi shirt. And we
And the
will,
Arangi
and the,
watch.
ooh, nice touch. The
Yeah.
Orangi watch. Nice
Yeah.
touch.
Yeah.
We will leave everybody.
Oh yeah.
Alrighty, there you have it. Our thoughts and our opinions about the music on the Kiss Just to Kill box set. We gave you our thoughts and our opinions, and we look forward to hearing and reading all of yours. What was the first thing you listened to? Was it the demos? Was it the live album? Or was it the remastered version of Just to Kill? We look forward to seeing what you have to say. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. You could also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you all next time.